Hello, listeners. It's Gunter Swoboda here with some exciting news. We're on the lookout for sponsors to join us on our incredible journey with Inspired Change with Gunter. If your organisation cares deeply about meaningful conversations around masculinity, self development, and mental health, we'd love to partner with you. Our podcast has a wonderful, dedicated audience committed to personal growth and positive social change. By sponsoring Inspired Change with Gunter, your brand will connect with listeners who truly value thoughtful discussion and support initiatives that promote real transformation. We're incredibly proud to be ranked number 1 in Australia and number 5 in the USA on FeedSpot's top men's mental health podcasts. For more information on how to become a sponsor, please reach out to Miranda Spiegner Sapon, our showrunner and executive producer. We'd love to explore how we can work together to inspire change. Now, thank you for your continued support, and let's keep inspiring change together.
You're listening to Inspire Change, a broadcast that strives to educate, motivate, and empower men to challenge traditions of masculinity. To guide us through the intricacies and intersections of emotions, relationships, and male identity is renowned psychologist, author, and speaker Gunter Swoboda. This is Inspire Change.
Before I begin the actual podcast, I would like to respectfully acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which I work. I would also like to pay my respects to their elders past and present. Welcome everybody to another episode of Inspire Change with Gunter. I'm your host. Welcome back to Inspire Change with Gunter. Today, I want to step back from the day-to-day noise about masculinity and talk about something more profound. Not another argument about toxic masculinity or real men, but a question that sits underneath all of that. What kind of animal are we actually? Are we really built for hierarchy and domination? Or are we built to live as equals? That's not a purely academic question. It shapes how men, human beings, see themselves, how we show up in relationships, and what we even think is possible in therapy and in life. Now, recently I've been reading a book by philosopher Lance Miller called The Roots of Equality. He looks at anthropology, at the lives of hunter-gatherer societies, and asks a simple but powerful question. How did human beings come to live as equals? And what does that mean for us now? I want to bring that conversation into the heart of making good men great. Because we've been told a story. True or false, it's a story. Now, most of us have grown up with a very familiar story about human nature. The story goes something like this. Deep down, humans are competitive, selfish, hierarchical. Life is a constant struggle for dominance. Men are naturally aggressive. If we are not kept in line by strong leaders and strict rules, everything falls apart. You know versions of this. Boys will be boys. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Only the strong survive. Neoliberalism has taken this to another level. Now, herein lies the problem. When you actually look at the anthropological record, the picture is far more complicated. There are many small-scale societies where people have gone to enormous effort to stop anyone becoming the big man, the tyrant, the bully. They share food. They keep wealth from piling up. They tease and undercut anybody who starts getting too full of himself.
Some anthropologists call this reverse dominance. The group bands together to make sure no one individual can dominate everyone else. In other words, humans are capable of building fiercely egalitarian worlds, not just pyramids of power. So, straight away, the simple story that men are naturally dominant and hierarchical gets really wobbly. Now, one of the things I like about Miller's work is that he doesn't treat equality as a slogan on a protest sign or in a paragraph in a constitution. He treats equality as a lived way of being together. In many foraging societies, nobody can lock up the food supply. Nobody owns the water. If you are hungry, you can walk over and eat it. If someone tries to hoard, there are social tools to deal with that. People move camp, they share, they mock the hoarder, they walk away from would-be tyrants. Equality here is not everybody gets the same salary. It's not that one can easily put their boot on someone else's back. Now think about how far that this is from the way many men are shaped in today's society. We are trained to compete, to climb, to measure ourselves against other men. We're told our worth depends on being on top, or at least not being at the bottom. Inside, that becomes what I call the masculine introject. An inner voice that says, if you're not winning, you are nothing. If you show weakness, you will be crushed. If you let go of control, you'll be humiliated. Now put that inner critic inside a man who grew up in a family that rewarded toughness and control, then train him as a therapist in a system that still quietly values expert distance, and you have a problem. So here I'm focusing essentially on the therapist. But think of this of all men at different levels of our society. Now, the capacity for equality is still there, but it's covered over by layers of fear and shame and performance. So, what does this really now mean for any new masculinity? And you might well ask, so what has all this got to do with a new masculinity and with making good men great? Now, for me, it changes the starting point. If you believe men are inherently dominating, then any call for change sounds like a moral lecture. Be less toxic, be nicer, be more sensitive. Many men hear that as an attack on something essential in them. Now, if you start from the idea that humans, including men, have a deep capacity for egalitarian relating, then the conversation shifts. The question becomes, what has blocked that capacity in you? Where did you learn that being a man means being above others, or at least never below? Who taught you that equality is weakness? It also means that when I talk about making good men great, I'm not asking you to become some abstract ideal. I'm really asking you to recover and grow into something we know humans can do, and humans have been. Living as an equal, not a ruler, not a doormat, but an equal. In practical terms, that shows up in three areas. Firstly, in your intimate relationships. Can you really sit with your partner as an equal human being, with your fears and needs on the table, instead of armoring up as a stoic problem solver? Secondly, what about your friendships with men? Can you step out of constant banter as defense and occasionally say, mate, I'm really struggling, without feeling you have been broken some masculine law? Thirdly, is it in how you show up at work and in leadership? Can you hold authority without needing to dominate, to humiliate, to outshine? Those are all questions of equality, not just skills. And the point that I want to make in this podcast is that therapy is a space of equality, or at least it should be. So let me bring this into the clinic for a moment. One of the quiet revolutions in psychotherapy has been the recognition that therapy works best when it's a collaboration, a relational process rather than a one-way expert performance. If equality is about protection from domination, from control, then good therapy is, at least partly, about building a space where the client is not dominated or coerced, not by the therapist, not by their own internalized critic, not by the expectations of what a real man should be. For male therapists, that isn't simple. We have our own masculine introject. Many of us have been rewarded for being confident, decisive, and in control. Sitting as an equal with uncertainty and vulnerability can feel at times like failure. What the anthropological story gives us is permission. It says humans can live this way. You are not violating nature by stepping down from the pedestal. You are actually drawing on a very old human capacity. Now, in supervision and training, this has big implications. We should be asking not only what is your theoretical orientation, but how does your own masculinity show up in the room? Are you simply reproducing hierarchy, status, or are you really practicing equality? So, where does this leave us? Well, firstly, it undermines the lazy claim that patriarchy and male dominance are simply the way things have always been and must always be. The conservative catch cry. The record shows that humans have other options. Secondly, it reframes the work of men's development. I'm not asking you to betray your nature. You are being invited to grow into a deeper part of it. And that is a way of being. It's a performance in some respects that is honest and true and authentic. Third, it sharpens the ethical edge of what I'm trying to do with making good men great. This is not about polishing up the same old masculine script so that it looks nicer on the surface. You know, a better hero or a better protector or a better provider, one who has compassion. It's about realigning masculinity with an egalitarian way of being human. Now, believe me, folks, that's hard work. It asks you to confront your own need for control. It asks you to feel the shame that comes up when you are not on top. It asks you to sit with people, especially women and other men, as genuine equals, no matter where you've placed yourself in our current social hierarchy. Now, this fundamentally is exceptionally liberating because once you no longer have to be above everyone, you are actually free to be with them. Now, if this has stirred something in you, take a moment after this episode and ask yourself one simple question. Where in my life am I afraid of being equal? Could be in your relationship. Oh, maybe it's with your boss. Maybe it's with your dad, even though he may be long gone. Notice what comes up in your body when you imagine stepping out of the hierarchy and into equality. Tightness, anger, relief. Where's the rupture and where's the repair? And this is where the work begins. As always, if you want to go deeper, this is exactly the territory we explore in Making Good Men Great, and here on Inspire Change. Okay, folks, thanks for listening. Please, in this festive season, look after yourself, look after each other, and remember, being a good man is not about being on top. It's about being fully human together.
On this show, we talk a lot about living with purpose, slowing down, paying attention, and being intentional about the choices we make every day. Because when we simplify the noise around us, we can better hear what really matters. Empathy, connection, and showing up as the best version of ourselves. That's why I'm genuinely pleased to welcome our newest sponsor, Distill Union. Their philosophy aligns beautifully with what we do here. Distill Union creates slick, thoughtfully designed essentials, wallets, key organizers, phone cases, all built with a less is more approach. Their Wally wallets, Ferris key organizers, these are everyday tools that make life easier, cleaner, and calmer. In that simplicity, there's space for clarity. There's space for change. As a thank you to our Inspire Change community, they're offering 20% off any product with the promo code Inspire Change. Have a look, try them out, and see how simplifying your day can open the door to something deeper. Visit distillunion.com and enjoy 20% off any product with the promo code Inspire Change. That's distillunion.com with promo code Inspire Change to check out.
Hello to all our listeners. We thank you for tuning in and promoting positive social change. This makes you a part of Gunter's efforts in transforming not only men's lives, but lives in general, and we are grateful you have joined us. This week, we're taking a look at the global listeners list, and we would like to share our gratitude with our listeners in Cameroon. You brought Africa all the way to number 6 on the global listeners list. Congratulations! We thank you so much for your continued support, and we appreciate your efforts to support positive social change. I, Devonna Prinzi, the co-executive producer, and our showrunner, Miranda Spigner-Sapone, sincerely thank you and ask that you please take the time to like, follow, subscribe, and share, as your efforts make a difference to everyone here at Inspire Change with Gunter. Please remember, if you want to share your story of social change, feel free to reach out to the show directly. Please see the show notes for our contact information. As always, thank you to each and every one of our listeners, and most importantly, please keep inspiring positive social change.
Love to hear from you. And if you're interested, please check out my work on www.gunterswoboda.com or www.goodmengreat.com.
Thank you for listening to Inspire Change, a broadcast that strives to educate, motivate, and empower men to challenge traditions of masculinity. For more information on the Making Good Men Great movement, or for individual or group coaching sessions with Gunter, visit goodmengreat.com.